Far in the future, two great forces have been fighting a 150-year-old war. The world known as Earth has long disappeared, and man inevitably fled to space to prevent its extinction. Through political differences and revolutions, some for better and some for worse, the Galactic Empire and the Free Planet Alliance came to be on opposite sides of the universe. The former a monarchy and the latter a democracy. In this long OVA series, the struggle for supremacy between these two sides of the galaxies rages on. But there are more factions behind the scenes, pulling the strings. To be short, this series changed my life. It's a politically awakening experience into the harsh brutality humanity will always be plagued with against itself. It's a series that will make you question your own government and perhaps inspire you to move politically. It shows you the disaster of unfortunate coincidences and that terrorism can't be dealt with a smile and a hand reaching out. This is a series that screams to be understood and most won't. One of the reasons it works so well for me is because I have a background in politics and history. Too many people don't care about politics or thinking, but as the series states, those who disregard politics become a victim of it. Politically, you can't always succeed by doing the ideal, right, just, or moral thing. Sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to prevent a much worse outcome that can't be avoided any other way. Sometimes there's a price to pay, but for many, they just can't comprehend the importance of this. This is one of the lessons of Paul von Oberstein, and you will come to see him one day. You would think that a monarchy would just be an evil thing, something that could only produce tyrants and harsh suppression of the populations. But out of this cloudy situation, a prodigy is born, who wants to undo this. Under the right leadership, even a monarchy can appear to be pure if the leader is a just and moral one. But there will be elements from within the old order that won't see it that way. Reinhard von Lohengrin defies what is usually expected of the so-called tyrant, and you will come to see him one day. On the other hand, there are those who believe in democracy. It sounds fair, one would think, but the way it seems to be used historically makes it appear to be just words on paper. Not even worse, the governmental buildings they are archived in. A man is born who is faced with the contradictions of glory but corruption at home. Yang Wenli, a historian turned soldier, is faced with a somewhat ironic situation. The empire is turning around morally despite being a monarchy. But the Free Planet Alliance, despite being a democracy, is littered with corruption and rebellions. Not only that, his superiors won't take his tactical advice, as good as it may be. Older men in power can be so stubborn and reactionary. As he struggles, he gives us the insight that knowing your history is important. They say those who don't learn their history are doomed to repeat them. And sometimes when you have a problem, you can look at history for the solutions. Yang Wenli teaches us the importance of this, and you will come to see him one day. Through 110 episodes, the narrator embraces the viewer as he unfolds a history far beyond just what the episodes show. The musical direction is brilliant, though a bit odd at timing at times. The art carries on well throughout the end. You could say it's outdated, but I prefer these beautifully hand-drawn space battles over your terribly modern-day CGI. It's a tragedy that this never got a dub, but I can understand as this is a dangerous anime, considering its radicalizing contents. It amazes me that a series this long with so many characters does such a good job making them memorable. The dialogue is amazingly written, and the story will always remain fresh with surprising twists. Maybe I am just speaking out of emotions or out of the lack of the giant backlog of anime I have, but I don't think anything will ever be able to come close to what this series has done. War, but those who are at the top, they sit comfortably and even allow their families to remain safe from the draft. How is this not cowardice? How is this fair to the people? How can a democracy stand for freedom when the citizens are oftentimes silenced? What good is the right of protest if the police are used as minions, time and time again, to deliberately and forcefully repress them? There are political prisoners and assassinations, oftentimes having paperwork that traces back to governments. You are only free to a certain extent. Don't be so blind to follow or not question unjust laws, as slavery itself used to be the law. This is explored deeply in Legend of the Galactic Heroes. As you watch the history pour out, a giant galactic battle will unfold as they struggle, over and over again. But it is up to the viewers to pick which side they are on. Who is really in the wrong here? It's a story of pain and suffering, struggling to move on, painful romance, hopeless situations, heavy losses, and shocking developments. The barbaric gore of war. The way you see life will change as the brilliance of characters such as Oberstein, Yang Wenli, and Reinhardt shatter your old ideals.